Hello everyone. So today I'm going to go a little bit more in depth with numerology basics. This is the universal law of numbers table, the power of numbers. And so we're going to be taking each characteristic of a single digit number and applying the power to it. And as we do that, we'll see a little bit more in depth of each one of the characteristics of these numbers and how they play a deeper role in the patterns and life around us. And so a couple things to note. The top row is going with all the single digits, 1 through 9 obviously, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 doesn't need to be there, because if you take 10 for example, in numerology you want to get it down to the single digit, so you wanted to add 1 plus 0, which would be 1, 11 would be 1 plus 1, which is 2, 12 would be 1 plus 2, which is 3, so on and so forth. So after 9, the pattern really starts to repeat itself, so that's as far as you need to go there. Now on this row, you'll notice that I went from 1 to 7, because after 7, the pattern starts to repeat itself as well. So when you go to the 8th row down here, the 8th row would be the same as number 2, the 2nd row. The 9th row will be the same as 3. The 10th will be the same as 4, 11th the same as 5, 12 the same as 6, 13 the same as 7, and that pattern will keep on going. So 14 will be the same as 2, 15 will be the same as 3, 16 will be the same as 4, 17 will be the same as 5, so on and so forth. And there's a specific reason for that. You can get a little bit more in depth, and if you started to go that way, you would want to still use numerology for this. So 10 would be a representation of 1, 1 plus 6 would be a representation of 7, and you can start to see patterns in this. I mean, when you're looking at numerology, the patterns and symbolism and the connection goes through all things. But when you first want to start, you can start with the basic like this. So again, the reason why we start at 7 is because this pattern starts repeating. So basically this section that you're looking at is the section of the pattern that's unique, and all of the rest of it starts to repeat itself over and over and over again into infinity. So you only need to do this amount of the table to see all of the table. Now, you can go in between the lines and get a lot further in depth, and you can look at all the other parts and start looking at those things. You could add up the rows and the columns together to see what that's looking at, and you'll see something more in depth about each number as you do. So I recommend that, and that's why I always recommend that in these things that I show, that it's really important for you to look in yourself and to do these things, because the experience for yourself, your mind will show you certain things that you're not going to get from me explaining this to you. So, to start off, we're going to go through the first row for an example, and just to look at what's going to be going in these squares and how you fill them in. The first one here, the first row we've already done, because if we went through 1, 1 to the power of 2 is 2, 1 to the power of 3 is 3, 1 to the power of 4 is 4, 1 to the power of 5 is 5, 1 to the power of 6, so on and so forth. So the next row would be 2 to the power of 2. When we do 2 to the power of 2, that's 4. 2 to the power, or 3 to the power of 2 would be 3 times 3, which is 9. 4 times 4, which would be 16, which that's 2 digits, so we need to reduce that. So 16 would be 1 plus 6, which would be 7. And now you got 5 to the power of 2, which would be 5 times 5, which is 25. And again, take the 2 plus the 5 is equal to 7. 6 to the power of 2, which would be 6 times 6, which is 36, which is 9. And then 7 times 7, which is 7 to the power of 2. This is 49, and then you take the 9 plus 4, which is 13, which is 1 plus 3, which is 4, because even when you try to reduce it, if you still have 2 digits, you need to keep reducing until it's a single digit to get the root number, or the base number of what is being hidden behind all the double digits. So again, 8 to the second power, or 8 to the power of 2, that's 8 times 8, which again, that one is 64. 6 plus 4 is going to be 10. 1 plus 0 is going to be 1. Excuse me, and now the last one, 9 to the power of 2, which would be 9 times 9, which would be 81. And then you're going to reduce that. 8 plus 1 is 9. So this is the pattern you're going to go through all of them. This would be 2 times 3, or I'm sorry, 2 to the power of 3. So you'd go 2 times 2 times 2. So 2 times 2 being 4, and then 4 times 2, which would be 8. And then so how that's how you're going to fill in the next rows. So I'm going to just start filling these in so you could get an idea of some deeper parts of this that you're going to be wanting to pay attention to. But again, that is why I always recommend that you take this for yourself and put it into practice so that your mind's eye will start to show you what mine is. And I could go in more in depth with some of this stuff, but instead of doing that, I would rather you do this for yourself, come to your own conclusions, and then if you happen to come to one of the get-togethers that we have, you could participate in giving some of your own insight from what has happened, or from what your mind has seen, I'm sorry. And so I just made a little mistake, I believe, of 417, 944, 97. I'm sorry, let me correct this one real quick. I just kind of jumbled the own numbers. I did all of these things that I'm making videos of. I did them all in my own time. And so all I'm doing now is really going through them again and kind of showing everybody the basics that I've gone through to see what I've seen. And then hopefully we'll have some really interesting stuff to talk about when you do this for yourself. So now we'll go through the 5s. We got 2 to the power of 5, which we got 5, 9, 7, 2, 9, 4, 8. 9. And real quick, as you're doing this, if you've noticed as I'm doing it, this is where Nikola Tesla says if you understood the laws of 3, 6, and 9, you understand the keys to the universe. And if you'll notice, in the lines for 3 and 6 and 9, they're all 9s. So whenever there's 3 and 6, 9 is always present in spirit, and 9, it's just a solid house. Look at that, 9 and then 9. And then so all these you could easily fill in and just add a 9 because that's going to be 9 no matter what. But it's showing you something there at the same time. So as we go down a little bit further, we got so this completes the pattern that continuously goes on and on and on and on. And doing a couple of these rows and columns, there's a couple of things to notice. Besides the 3, 6, and 9, all equaling 9s, if you look at the 3 and the 6s here, you got 8, 9, 1, 8, 9, 1, 8, 9, and so on and so forth. On the 6s, you got 1, 9, 1, 1, 9, 1, 1, 9. So there is some significant things going on here to look at. And then there's some other parts of the rows to look at. We got 4, 9, 7, 7, 9, 4, 1, 9. Now if you'll look here, this is like a mirror. And so what you're seeing is 4, 9, 7. And then in the mirror, you're seeing the 7 right in front, the 9 behind the 7, and the 4 behind the 9. And then the same thing goes where number 4 is, the row 4, you're looking at the same thing as column 2, but the numbers are reversed. Instead of 4, 9, 7, now you have 7, 9, 4. So the number is the same as up here, and this 4, 9, 7 is the same as over here, but it's switched around. So 2 and 4 are obviously related for multiple reasons, because 2 goes into 4 2 times. So there's obviously showing this relationship between the two. And the same thing, it has this mirror here that's showing 7, 9, 4, and then 4 is right next to the 4, 9 is behind the 4, 7's behind the 9. So again, it's showing you that mirror. Now, not all of these do that, but each one has a different set of clues to take into consideration and to look at. and to really figure out what it is that it's communicating. There's a lot of ways that I could break this down and what it's saying, but it'll sound like a bunch of craziness if you don't do this for yourself, because you really have to do a lot of this to start understanding and knowing the character of 8, understanding and knowing the character of 6, understanding and knowing the character of number 3, because each one of these has a different character of their own. It's like these are different archetypes or different characters or different people, and each person has a different personality, and so you really got to play with them to get to understand what that personality does. And you could say, well, how will this relate to my life and the world around me? That's why I say you have to really experience this for yourself and try it for yourself, so that when you're done taking a look at this, you can see for yourself what exactly is this saying. And other than that, I appreciate your time. Thank you. And if you're looking forward and getting together in one of the meetups that we have regarding numerology and all those other things in regards to higher consciousness and mindfulness, please take some time to do these simple tables and the video previously before, and then that way you have a little bit of better understanding already of how these numbers are working together. And maybe if anything, you could ask questions about what you're seeing, any strange anomalies or anything you feel really pulling your attention, and what exactly is that pulling. So again, this is just the basics. There's a ton more that you can do with this. This is just the start. So thanks again. Have a great day. Love and light. May it guide you home.